Hi, I'm Sam Gandy. I'm a nature-loving ecologist, science writer, and researcher interested in the capacity of psychedelic substances to affect people's relationship with or connection to nature. And I feel that this is an interesting thing to be looking at this time we find ourselves in, because there appears to be a growing disconnection or alienation between humans and the natural environment. And this is in turn being linked to poor mental health and ecological destruction. Nature connectedness or nature relatedness is the term applied to one's awareness of being part of a larger interconnected web of life that makes up the natural world, or one's self-identification with nature. It's something distinct from simple contact with nature, which tends to be more passive. Nature connectedness encompasses an experiential and emotional connection to nature, and this is tied to observation, appreciation, and engagement with the natural world. And unfortunately, in broad terms, people's connection to nature seems to be being increasingly eroded, and in a number of different ways. And this may come through biodiversity loss and increasing urbanization and a loss of green space, and this can result in what has been termed an extinction of experience, and that's essentially diminished potential for everyday interactions with nature, which are an important aspect of nature connectedness. And as well, it should be sort of mentioned as well that prevailing religious, cultural, and also scientific views may have something to answer for sowing seeds of disconnect. And the flames of this are being likely fanned further by usage of electronic entertainment technology, particularly among the young. And this alienation from nature poses a major risk, not just to our species, but many others that share this planet with us. And nature connectedness has been referred to as a basic psychological human need, and there's a solid and growing evidence base linking it to psychological well-being and vitality. In addition, it's also predicts likelihood of actually spending time in nature, while acting as a mediator for some of the benefits to mood and cognition that come through spending time in nature. And importantly, there is a solid and growing evidence base to show that nature connectedness is a key predictor of pro-nature attitudes and behaviors. So in some sense, the global environmental crises that we face, such as biodiversity loss and climate change, in some senses can be viewed as kind of symptomatic of this growing disconnection from nature, and is likely part of the root of the issues we face. Now, a growing body of evidence, or body of research, shows that psychedelic usage is associated with enduring increases in nature connectedness, and it kind of hints that there can be a sort of this sustained shift from more egocentric to a wider ecocentric perspective. And what makes psychedelics quite interesting in this capacity is they can affect these sustained shifts in how people relate to nature, even when administered in clinical settings without any non-human nature present and without the prior intentionality of doing so. And this is interesting because other nature connectedness interventions, unsurprisingly, nature itself is the main focus of all these different approaches. And so, I'll be kind of exploring some of the research that's being done here and touch on some of the potential underlying mechanisms that may underlie this shift that can occur. And in addition, it's psychedelics and contact with nature share overlap in how they actually affect the mind and can yield well-being. And sort of from that, it can be inferred there may be ways which psychedelic administration and nature contact may synergize as well, and that will also be being discussed. And in addition to this potential shift from a more egocentric to potentially more ecocentric view, their conscious altering properties can also potentially be applied to certain aspects of creative thinking. And through that, there is also the potential for wider benefits that sort of go beyond the individual. And the capacity of psychedelics to potentially, at least in principle, yield change beyond the individual is worthy of exploration, because currently the sort of predominant approach is highly individualistic when it comes to psychedelics, and that's simply reflective of our Western societal values. And while psychedelics are, I would say, gaining more mainstream acceptance, they are still considered controversial substances, and they tend to be quite polarizing in terms of the views people have of them. And one way of sort of challenging these entrenched views is simply learning more about them. And yeah, with that in mind, I'm really looking forward to discussing these subjects with you all. Thank you.